So the topic which we are going to cover today is wait command in Selenium, where we will be learning implicit wait, explicit wait, and page load timeout. This is one of the most important topic. The reason is because without this, when in real-time projects you will automate, your code will break intermittently. Like sometime you will feel that everything was working fine, and then all of a sudden you will start facing the issue that your code is breaking with the same code. Okay, so let me tell you the one of the problem which we face in real-time projects, and then what we do to fix those issues. So one of the biggest problem which we face in any automation project is synchronization between your application the test and the code which you're running. Okay, see what happens is the application which you're testing that has its own speed of execution, whereas the code which you are running, the code which you are writing for Selenium in Selenium, that has its own speed of execution. Now, it might happen that your application in the test is too fast, that your Selenium and your Selenium script is slow, then they will not be able to sync and your code will break. This is one scenario. And the second scenario is that your application in the test is too slow and your Selenium code is too fast. In both the cases, there won't be a synchronization or sync between rendering of the page and execution of the Selenium code. That is one of the challenge we face, and it's very frequent, especially the websites which are being developed these days. They are too dynamic in nature. Based on certain operations, certain things comes up. Sometimes some take time, some are very fast. So now how to fix them? How to solve that issue? Uh, the generally speaking, the application the test uh, can never be too fast as compared to Selenium, because the scripts written in Selenium executes within no time. Okay, so they are also uh, you can say that the Selenium code is much faster. So this issue you might not face. But the other thing, that is when application test behaves very slow and your Selenium script is fast, that is a frequent issue. And that issue we can resolve by using some kind of weights. One of a couple of weights are first one is page load timeout. So this deals with page loading, I mean loading of a page, of a web page. Second we have is implicit wait. Implicit wait is something which is which is for identification of elements. And then we have a explicit wait. This is the most important wait, you can say. Implicit is also important, but the thing is when nothing works, then explicit wait always works. So these are three types of wait. There is one more, that is thread.sleep. I'll be giving you explanation regarding thread.sleep as well, because sometimes it happens that none of these three works. Then we have to take care of thread.sleep, though that is totally, I mean, you should always avoid thread.sleep. That is not a good way. But yeah, sometimes we don't have any other option than using this. Okay, so let's start with the page load timeout. Okay, so is the problem statement clear to you, Jishan?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, so let's start with the page load timeout. So what is this page load timeout? See, this is the maximum time Selenium waits for a page to get load successfully on a browser. If the page takes more than this time, it will throw page not found exception. Okay, so actually it's not page not found, it is page timeout exception. So what does it means is that if you are starting with a testing of a web application and your website starts loading, it takes some time to load on the screen. Okay, and Selenium actually waits if you're not providing page load timeout. Selenium waits for infinite time for that page to get load. If you'll not put this timeout, then your Selenium will keep on waiting for infinite time. Though I got to know that now they have changed this time to maximum of 3 minutes, but still that is also something which is very high time. Okay, so uh, that's why we give page load timeout. The reason we give page load timeout is because if you're not giving page load time, I said that the implicit wait, this default time is infinite. So sometimes if your web application is not working properly, it's not behaving properly, then uh, your Selenium will keep on waiting for infinite time, or maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever time it is. That's the reason we define this, and we give it a value of somewhere around 60 to 90 seconds, and we expect our application to get load in that time. This time generally we discuss with the developers that what should be the maximum allowed time. Okay, we are not doing performance testing here, so we don't expect our pages to get loaded within no time. Here we give some time because generally when you execute automation, uh, automation is generally run on local servers. They are not hosted on the best service provider. So you can expect some delay. That's the reason we give this page load timeout somewhere around 60 to 90 seconds, and we expect our page to get load. Okay. Now this is brief introduction of page load timeout and how you define. This is the small code driver.manage.timeouts.page load timeout. This you have to define only once, not always. Just define once before navigating to a URL, and this time will be set on the browser. So on that browser, whatever website you'll open for all those websites, this time will be set as 90 seconds. Okay, so you just have to define it once. I'll show you where. If I open your project, okay, so in any of the project, let's say Guru 99 project, when you are invoking browser, just before get URL, add it. So it will be driver dot manage dot timeouts dot page load timeout, and the time I'll giving is, let's say, 60 seconds, but you have to tell what is the unit. So how will you tell? It is time unit. So there is a class called time unit, and dot. Here you have options of choosing one of the option: days, hours, microseconds, milliseconds, nanoseconds, and seconds. So I'll choose seconds. Now this means is that for my browser, for this browser instance, that is driver, the timeout, which timeout, page load timeout is defined as 60 and the unit as seconds. So 60 seconds is the time. Now, no matter whatever website you'll open on this browser, in this browser instance, all those websites will wait maximum of 60 seconds to get load. If they're not loading in this time, then they'll throw an exception, timeout exception. So I'll show you with example how it breaks. Okay. So now, so this is fine that we define this time, and within that time it should get open. But let's understand how a web page gets loaded in the browser. So you'll get to know what exactly happens at the back end. So this is a small diagram I have created. So let's talk about how page gets loaded. Let's say this is your browser. This is your system on which browser is there, and somewhere in maybe in different location than you're residing. Say for example, I'm in India, and these servers are somewhere located in US. So what happens is there is a medium in between, that is internet. So when we type something in URL, let's say I'm typing some website name, maybe for facebook.com, and I press enter. So when I type facebook.com and I press enter, what happens at the back end? At the back end, uh, sorry. So at the back end, what happens is some kind of request is generated. That request will be an HTTP request. In HTTP also there can be many requests, like it can be a get HTTP or post HTTP, delete HTTP, and so on. It can be a get, post, delete, anything. Now whatever request you are sending, get or maybe post, that request via internet goes to web server. In between there are many processes, like there is one DNS thing is also there, which checks whatever URL you are passing, what is its IP, and then access that IP and then returns the data. Okay, so it sends this HTTP request to the web server. Then web server checks for the web page what you are looking for. It searches in its internal memory, in its internal pages, that which page you are looking for. Once that page is is available, what your web server do is it checks the size of the web page. If the size of the web page is too high, is too large, okay, then maybe if it is in some MBs, I mean the page can be in some in as small as in some KBs, or it can be as big as in some MBs, maybe 100 MB or 200 MB. This might happen. Now, if your page size is very small, now and depending upon your internet speed, the response which you get can either be in one single packet or it can be sent in multiple packets. Okay, so if your web page is very small, maybe in some 100 KB, then your internet speed is also greater than that, and that's the scenario these days because of 4G and broadband. The internet speed generally is high. Maybe for me it's like 40 Mbps, 40 MB per second I can send. I mean web server can send. It can translate. So if it is in small some KBs, then the request which you'll get will be very quick and your web page will come immediately. But if your web page is big, maybe 200 MB or something like that, then your web server will break this web page into packets and you'll start receiving multiple packets. And the first package which you'll receive, that will have something known as content length. Here your browser will wait for the size equal to content length, accumulates all the pages, all the packets here, and start showing on the browser. Okay, as soon as all the packets are received, your web page will show the complete page and it will also trigger one event stating that page is loaded successfully. Selenium is actually waiting for that trigger only. So if it receives that trigger within the time you have defined, within the time you have defined, it will not throw any exception. Otherwise, it will simply throw an exception, timeout exception, and will come out of the code. So that's what happens at the backend, how page is loaded. Clear? Dishan, any questions, any queries here?
No, all clear.
Okay, good. So this is what happens when you define page load time. So let's move on to the next wait. Now the next wait we have is implicit wait. What is this wait? Let's talk about it. This wait can be considered as element detection timeout. See, I am saying once defined in a script, this wait will be set for all the web elements on the page. So whatever web element you see, it will be defined for all and will be defined once only in the code. So just after this, you define this page load timeout. Just after it, define this. So I'll just copy it, and here I'll say implicit wait. Generally, we keep implicit wait as low, somewhere around 10 seconds, not more than that. Even for in my projects, we have just kept it 5 seconds. What does it mean? I'll explain you. Okay, so what is this implicit wait? As I said, that implicit wait can be considered as element detection timeout. Okay, now uh, as soon as I open any page, let's say I'm opening ebay.in, any web page, and you can see here the page is loading. Once the page is loaded successfully, see this bar is gone. Okay, and now if you see, most of the elements are there. But if I perform certain operations, based on those operations, some elements will appear. Like if I hover over this mobile and accessories, you can see a submenu is appearing. Okay, this submenu has some many options in it. Now, for you, you're looking at it and you see that it comes within fractions of seconds. Like as soon as I hovered over it, it came. Okay, but as I was saying, it is coming in fractions of second, but still it is taking some time. That is, some fractions of second, it is taking some time to appear on the screen. Okay, and the way Selenium works, if you don't have this implicit wait, then it expects all the elements to be there within 0 seconds. Selenium expects them to be there before you execute the code. Okay, so even in this scenario, that is when I hover over this mobile and accessories, you will observe that if you try to interact with any one of the element, maybe mobile phones, it will break. It will break your code. Okay, why? Because your Selenium code is expecting this mobile phones to be there before you execute that code. But if it is taking time, though that time is is very less, still it might throw you an exception. This is one example I gave. Sometime what happens is at the backend some kind of database queries are executing, and if those queries are executing, they might take some time to appear on the screen. If they are taking that some time, that means uh, your code will break if you don't have defined this. Okay, so this is the problem. Now the solution is this implicit wait, and how it solves the problem is that when you're trying to interact with an element which is not there on the screen at that time, Selenium will not throw an exception, but it will wait and try again after some time. Okay, generally speaking, that time is 10 seconds, 10 milliseconds, or something. Some time is there. Okay, so it will try after that time. If that element is present after that time, it's fine. Otherwise, it will throw another exception. Otherwise, it will keep on waiting. It will keep on waiting till the time you have defined here. That means Selenium will keep on waiting, keep on trying to check whether this mobile phones is there or not at max of 10 seconds. Okay, so this process of keep on checking is known as uh, polling the web element. So your Selenium will keep on polling this mobile phones. First it will check, it will see if it is there or not. If it is not there, it will try again after some time, try again, till this time is over or till the element is available. There are only two options. Either this element comes or this time get over. Okay, so that's how implicit wait works. Is it clear? Any questions here, Jishan?
Um, Java, it goes stepwise. Like first you have mentioned it should maximize the window, then it goes to the delete all cookies,
Hmm.
and now you didn't mention any URL, and you are putting the timeout before that URL.
Yeah. So what I'm doing here
So
is,
what like that? Like it will time out first, and then it will go to the side, and then time out. Like
no,
how
no,
it
no, no.
the
Okay, okay.
sequence is working.
Okay, I'll explain you what exactly happens here is. See, it defined them before Git. Okay. So yeah, I agree to you that it goes step by step. Now, what this method is doing, here you are not waiting for page to load. You are updating the value of one of the variable with this value called 60. Internally in this class called Chrome driver, there might be a variable. That variable will be page.timeout, and you are just setting the value of that page.time. You are just updating the value of that variable using this method. That's
Got
what
it.
you are doing. Similarly, with implicit wait, You are updating the value of one of the variable which might be defined in this Chrome driver class, and the name could be implicit wait or something. And you are updating that value with 10 seconds. Now,
And
when
the
you,
implicit is on
sorry,
useful for the submenus.
yeah, these two things will be like this first one will be for the complete page to get load. Then
Mhm.
this is for all the elements, whatever element you see on the screen for all of them. So this wait is for them. And what is the condition? Element, as I said, it can be considered as element detection timeout. That means it is waiting for element to appear on the screen. That's what it is waiting for.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And those two variables will get the value. And when you will navigate to a particular URL, for that particular URL, when it is loading, page load will be used as 60 seconds and implicit wait will be used as 10 seconds. So that's how it works. Clear?
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So I'll show you with example that how in this particular example only that in mouse over, after we mouse over this mobile and accessories, and if I'll try to move to this mobile phones, it will break. Okay. So let me just demo these two timeouts, and then probably we'll move to the next wait, that is explicit wait. So I'll just create a package day, though it's day 7. What should I do? Should I put it day 7 or day 8?
Yes.
Day
Day
7.
seven.
Okay, fine. And if you'll get confused, I'll just mention here refactor rename. I'll just put day 5 and 6 so that you don't get confused that where is day 7 6.
Time to rename this one.
Sorry.
And
Okay, so here I'll just say eBay, uh, not eBay project. Let's say mouse over. Okay, yeah. Okay, let
and
me
I
put.
need to ask
Mhm.
how we decide that we need to use the public static void method and we are not going to use the public
Okay,
void method.
okay,
So I
so
need to learn those classes or those methods as well after
yeah, okay.
learning.
So that's actually you just started with Java, so don't worry about that. We'll discuss that in detail, that when to use the which way. Okay, so generally we segregate methods in different things. Like here, if you recall Guru 99 project, look at that method. In this method, we have defined many methods here, like first invoke browser, then we logged in, and after that we added a customer, then we did a get customer, then we did add account, and so on. So there were many methods which we created, like, right? Okay, so why I created these different methods? The reason was very simple. What I wanted was I want to keep my code separate. I want invoke browser to be separate, then login. So each method will do one single thing. That's how you do. Now, once everything is done, once all the things you have created, and you want to execute them one by one, and as I told you that execution always starts with the main method, so here also you will have a demo Grunt 99 project in which we have created the main method, and then we call those methods one by one. So execution always starts from a main method, and you segregate your code into multiple methods. Now if, let's say, um, you write everything in main method, then what will happen? All the code which you have written here inside these methods, you need to write all of them here. Now what could be the issue? Issue could be that here, if you see, we have this invoke method, invoke browser method. Now if something fails in this invoke browser method, then okay, not that example I'll give you. So if you need to change something in this invoke browser method, then you will search where your code is breaking, and then you'll go and change. And another thing can be that you might reuse these methods. Maybe you are writing some other scenario of Guru 99 project, and in that this add customer and get customer are not coming. You have already a customer added, you already have a customer ID with you, so you don't want these two methods to be there. Then what you'll do in this demo container, you'll call invoke browser, you'll call login, and after that, instead of calling add a customer, you'll directly call add account. Uh, this was, yeah, you can simply call add account. Then you don't need this customer, these methods. But if you have written the complete code here itself, then you need to come here and comment out these two methods. So that's the reason we divide logic into small methods. Okay, and in once your framework will start, that time you will see that I'll write even a small logic. If I'll write it in a separate method. So that time you will get to know what is the use of defining the methods. One of the reason is reusability. That's the biggest reason, and that we will see more in frameworks, because currently I'm focusing on learning the syntax and you can say the logic of Selenium. Once that will be done, that time I'll show you how real-time projects are actually created. Clear, Jishan?
Uh, yeah.
So Sandhya, you were not there. I was discussing about the weights and synchronization, so you can go through the recordings. But yeah, two weights which I have covered today are, one is page load timeout and second is implicit wait. So I was just giving a demo of page load timeout and implicit wait. Quickly, if I
Mm-hmm.
recap, what is this page
Mm-hmm.
load timeout? This
Okay.
page load timeout is the maximum time your website will wait for your page to get load. Okay, so what happens is if you're not giving this time, Selenium waits for infinite time for a page to get load. Okay, so if you're not defining it and some weird thing happened with your application test, then your Selenium will keep on waiting for infinite time and will never come out of it. Okay, so just to save your code from these unwanted behavior, Selenium provides us this time, and this is a threshold value, maximum value you can say. If within this time your page gets load, then fine. Otherwise, it will throw an exception stating page timeout exception. So here it's not page not found. I need to update this code. It is page timeout. Okay. Now, so this you have to define just once. Once you define it in your code, then it will reside there for that web browser for lifetime till that driver instance is alive. Once that goes, then this timeout goes. Okay, and next we started with implicit wait. Then implicit wait is something which is for element detection timeout to search for elements on the page. Okay, it's a threshold value. You're giving this value. Generally, we give this value as low value, somewhere around 10 to 5 to 10 seconds. What happens is once your page is loaded successfully, after that, if some of the elements take time to appear on the screen, though that time is very less, some fractions of second, but it is more than 0 seconds, then your code might break, because Selenium, when interact with any element, it expects all the elements to be there on the screen before you execute. So you can say by default this implicit time is 0 seconds. Okay, so uh, if your elements are already there, then no issues. But a scenario like this where you are mouse hovering over this mobile and accessories, and then you are interacting with these elements. See, this when you hover over this mobile and accessories, it took some time, though that time was some fractions of second, but it took some time. Okay, So what happens is if that element is not there at the time of you're trying to interact with it, then it might throw you an exception, element not found exception. Okay, so for that, we define this implicit wait, and what Selenium do after that is when it try to interact with this element and you have defined implicit wait, it will not throw exception that time only, but it will wait for some time, try again after some time, see if that element is there that time. If yes, it will proceed. If not, then it will again try after some time. It will keep on trying till that element is visible or the timeout you have defined is over. So this process of keep trying is known as polling. You keep on polling this element to see if it is there or not. If it is, if it founds the element within that time, fine, it will proceed. Otherwise, it will simply throw an exception stating element not found. Okay, so I'll give you a demo of both the things and then we'll proceed. Did you get us idea, Sandhya, what we are discussing? And in detail, you can go
Ah,
through the recordings.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Saurabh. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just starting with this mouse over. Now I'll just copy this invoke browser method because we have already written. I'll just change the URL. Okay, okay, so invoke browser is the method. First, we have defined the Chrome browser instance. Okay, then what I'll do, I'll just remove this for now. I mean, I'll comment out this now and I'll keep this page load timeout is very low. Let's say 6 seconds. And here I'll change the URL to ebay.in. Okay, and yeah, so just invocation, let's do the invocation thing. Right click, run as. Okay, let me do one more thing. I'll just comment out this also. I'll I'll comment out the 6 seconds page load timeout as well. Right click, run as. Okay, I need a main method as well. So I'll create another class, not interface. I need a class. And I'll name it demo mouse over. Let's keep this public static void main checked. Okay, so first of all, I'll create an instance of that class. Let's say mh equal to new mouse over. Okay, and mh dot invoke browser. So just invoking browser we are doing, and you can see I've not defined any page load timeout and I've not defined any implicit wait. So what do you think? What should be the implicit this page load timeout? As I told you, the by default the page load timeout is infinite, so it will wait for your page to let get load properly. So I'll just invoke this browser. So you can see browser has started invoking. Okay, it has thrown an exception.
It was happening with me as well. Like if I run the same script again, then it was working, and sometimes showing the exception.
I guess Jishan, remember today morning my Chrome got upgraded,
Okay.
so that could be the reason. Let's see if it will not work now. I'll update the chrome.exe. Yeah, it is breaking, so we need to upgrade the chrome.exe. Let me download the latest one. And this is a very frequent issue with Selenium, that if your browser get update, then so generally we keep our browsers intact. We don't let them upgrade without our permission. I have okay, so here I need to download this
Yes.
one.
Oh,
Okay, guys, just one more thing I wanted to tell you, that when you are not closing the browser instance at the end, when you're using this chrome driver.exe, or let's say you're using driver.close instead of driver.quit, then your chrome driver.exe might be there running. So just end the task, or uh, a good practice is at the end of the code always use driver.quit. Okay, that will just remove the instance of chrome driver if anything is there. Okay, so this is one thing I wanted to tell. So here you can see it was giving me an error that it is being used by some other user, so I just recalled, okay, there might be one instance running. Okay, so now if I go back, try again, it is still using. Okay, what is using now? Do you see any chrome driver.exe here? I guess no, now it should not be a case. Still. Okay, fine, I'll copy paste it in some other location. Mm, Sorry guys for this, just give me a second, I'll just quickly update it. Even I was worried when it was getting upgraded, because this happens a lot.
good to know how to troubleshoot it.
You'll learn troubleshoot a lot once you'll uh, start with the frameworks. Don't worry, I'll I'll show you many things at the time of frameworks, which we actually face in real time. Okay, now it's working. So it's working fine now. So you can see that it is waiting for your page to load. Till that time there won't be any exception. Okay, so you can see pages loaded successfully, and if we'll come here, there is no exception. That means your website waits for infinite time. Okay, what I got to know a couple of weeks ago that Selenium has changed the value to maximum of 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes, I guess 300 seconds they have upgraded. Uh, so I'm not sure about it because in the documents, in Selenium documents, uh, the Java docs of Selenium, the time is still what I found is was infinite. So maybe I need to check it again that actually it has changed or not. But yeah, anyways, we don't have to worry about that because 5 minutes will never wait. So what we do is we now here what I'm doing is I'll change the page load timeout to some less time, let's say 6 seconds, and I know that within this 6 seconds your page will not load. Okay, so I'll just execute my code again and see if it gets loaded in this time. If not, what happens? Okay, so here you can see page is loaded, but at the back end it has thrown an exception, and look at the exception. Exception is selenium dot timeout exception. Okay, timeout happened, and it will also show you when this timeout happened. So here you can see somewhere it will, yeah, timeout receiving messages, command or timeout. It generally shows the time in which it throws the exception. So for us, as we have given 6 seconds, so it will show you that within 6 seconds it was not able to communicate to it. Okay. So Sandhya, you have a question that in real time we will not download the exe files, right? Generally, how will it be? No, we download this exe file if your browser get update. We use this. I mean, we download this chrome driver.exe and keep them in one location. From there, we use this. In real time, also we keep them. Okay, so this is the exception you'll get. And now again what I'll do, I'll update this time with something which is acceptable, like for this, let's say 60 seconds is accepted. Okay, and yeah, and Sandhya, you're saying everyone will download. See, it depends on where you are executing your code. There are two instances where we execute. Actually, these things are already planned in future. Once we'll start with the framework, that time we'll discuss about regarding these. Okay, what happens is if you're executing your code in your local, that is on your own system, that time you will keep the Chrome driver exe on your local environment, and if you're running it on some VMs or Dockers or on some external machine, which is not common, which is common to the complete team, then you will keep only one copy in your VM or on Docker or wherever you are running. Okay, so that's how it happens. But yeah, wherever you are running it, whatever environment you're using, wherever you're running it, you have to download this chrome driver.exe. Otherwise, your code will not work. Okay, so here you can see now when I change the value to 60 seconds, your code is not throwing any exception because it is expecting your page to come in that 60 seconds, and it came. Okay, so this was the example of how page load time works. So why we keep this value as 60 or 90 seconds? Because the default value is infinite time, and we don't want our scripts to get stuck for infinite time without any reason. Okay, if let's say some there is some issue in your application the test and your page is not loading and it has got stuck uh, in between, so we don't want it to wait and wait and wait. What do we do? After some time we just throw an exception and move on. Okay, so yeah, now I'll move to the next one, that is implicit wait. So for implicit wait we'll take the same example, and that is the mouse over which I was discussing. So here I'll create a method public void uh, mouse hover operation, let's say. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to mouse over this mobile and accessories, then we'll move to this mobile phones and we'll click on it. This is what we are going to do. Okay, now uh, not only this implicit wait we'll learn here, we'll also learn how to perform mouse operations. What are the mouse operations? One of the operation I just explained here, that is when you have this website and you move to this website, this is one mouse operation. You cannot do it with any other thing. You can do this only through your mouse. Right click is one, double click is one, drag and drop is another method. So these are few methods which you perform only through mouse. That is what mouse operations are. So those operations in Selenium you can also perform using a class called actions. So Selenium provides us one class known as actions class, and that class is used to actions class is used to perform any mouse related operation. So let's say actions action equal to new actions, and here it is driver. You need to tell where you are going to perform these operations. So I'm going to perform all these operations on my browser instance. Next will be action dot. What do you want to perform? You want to perform move to element, right? Which element? This mobile and accessories. So let's define that element first. So it will be web element mobile accessories link equal to driver dot find element by dot link text, and the value of link text, let's say, is why I'm taking link text, I should have told you. So here if you'll see, it's a link, it's an anchor tag, that means it's a link, and the link text we have is mobile and accessories. So I'll just copy it, come here, mobile and accessories, and this is your element. We'll pass this element here, and then you need to do build dot perform. Why we do build dot perform? See, this is my web element which I have defined. Next is action dot move to element, that is move to this element, and then you're passing that web element here. After that we need to do this build and perform. What does these two commands do? In actions class the code is written in such a way that before this build there can be a single method or it can be a multiple methods. Like you can have methods like uh, move to this element, then move to this element, and then click. You can write all the three methods in one line. Okay, and what does this build do? This build will accumulate all the methods which are written before it, okay, understands them, and then perform will actually executes them. So just like your compiler, whatever code you have written, your compiler will compile it and convert it into the computer understandable language. Same thing, this build command will get all the commands which are written before it and understands them, and then this perform method will execute them. So whenever you are doing any mouse operation, you have to use actions class, and after writing all the commands you want to perform using mouse operation, then you need to always do a build and perform. What does this build will do? This build will compile your commands, and what does this perform will do? This perform will execute your commands. Okay, so that's how this works. Any questions, any queries here?
So for this actions class, we need to pass the driver as the argument.
Yeah. But driver we are passing as an argument in the constructor. Reason because we need to tell where you want to perform all these actions. I mean, what all mouse operations we are talking about, where we need to perform them. So all of them we need to perform in this on this browser instance. That's what we are telling here. See, there can be multiple browsers opened at a time. Okay, so you need to tell uh, this action class on which browser you want to perform all these operations. So that's the reason we are passing here. Clear?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, this is all in this we have written. Now after we move to this mobile and accessories, now I want to move to this mobile phones. So I'll write another logic, and here I'll say web element. Here I'll say mobile phone link, and if we check this mobile phone HTML code, again it's a link which has the link text as mobile phones. Okay, so here I'll say mobile phones, and what we'll do, we'll move to this mobile phones, and then after that we'll click on it, and then we are doing build.perform. So here you can see we are calling multiple methods together, and then we are first we are building this, and then we will perform it. Okay, so this is how method is written. Now I'll just call mouse, sorry, mh dot mouse over operation. And also you will observe I have not defined any implicit wait, so let's see how it behaves. So I'll execute the code. So here you can see it has moved to mobile and accessories. I mean, it has mouse hovered over mobile and accessories, but look at the page. It has not clicked on mobile phones. That means it was not able to interact with it. Okay, so how will I get to know that it is not able to interact? Let's go and check the error what we are getting. See here what error it is throwing. It is throwing no such element exception. That means it was not able to find that exception. Not it was not able to find that element. Okay, no such element exception. Unable to locate with this method link text and selector mobile phones. So it was not able to identify it. Okay, and yeah. So this is the exception you are getting. Clear? See, though this took hardly fractions of second to to make this submenu appear on the screen, but still it is not able to identify it. Now what I'll do, I'll just add this implicit wait to the code. Here, we'll just enable it and we'll keep this value to 10 seconds or 5 seconds, as small as possible. Okay, so like in my project, I've kept it as 5 seconds, but yeah, let's keep it 10 seconds, it's fine. Now if I'll execute the code again, let's see how it behaves now. So you can see it has clicked on mobile phones and the page is also changed to mobile phones. No error here. So what happened now? Within no time it was not able to find mobile phones, but after that it tried again, uh, again and again, and within this time it was able to interact with mobile phones, clicked on it and moved on. So that's how implicit wait helps you in identifying the elements. Clear? Any
Okay,
questions, any queries?
Saurabh, you mentioned if you don't define the implicit wait, then
Mhm.
Selenium wait for infinite time.
No, no, no. It wait for 0 seconds. Page load time, default value of page load time is infinite, whereas the value of the default value of implicit wait is 0 seconds.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Okay, so implicit wait is zero, page load time is infinite.
got it.
Okay, so yeah, so that's all in implicit wait. Now the next topic we have is explicit wait, but before that, let's have break for 7 minutes and then we'll move to explicit wait. So see you after 7 minutes and then we'll continue with explicit wait. So we can continue now. Next wait we have is, guys, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Explicit wait and fluent wait mean same? Both are same?
Fluent wait is one step ahead. Let's first understand explicit wait. Okay,
Okay.
maybe we'll discuss fluent wait also, but yeah, not today.
Okay.
Later on, I can explain you. Okay,
Okay, sure.
yeah. So concepts remain same. Fluent wait has just one extra property. I'll tell you what that property is. Okay, so let's talk about explicit wait now. Now, this wait can be considered as a conditional wait. Uh, this wait can be considered as conditional wait and is applied to a particular. Just give me a second. Just a second. Okay, so this wait can be considered as conditional wait and is applied to a particular web element with a condition. There are many conditions which can be applied using explicit wait. Say for example, there is a web element on a page which takes more than expected time to appear on the page. So instead of increasing implicit wait for a particular web element, we can apply explicit wait to that element with a condition. Okay, I'll give you example. Say for example, on this page only itself, uh, where is eBay? Okay, let me open it again. Okay, so let's consider that on this page, when I mouse over this mobile and accessories, this drop down appears, this submenu appears, right? Now you have given, let's say, the implicit wait as 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and there are certain operations which take more than that time, or there is only one particular element which takes more than this time. Then you have one option, increase your implicit wait, or second option, apply explicit wait explicitly to that particular element only. That's why the name is explicit wait. What we are saying here is this wait can be considered as a conditional wait and is applied to a particular web element with a condition. There are many conditions which can be used. I'll explain what all conditions are there. One of the example I'm giving is, say for example, one of the element is taking more than other elements to appear on the screen. So either you can increase the implicit wait, or you can apply the explicit wait with a condition. And condition uh, can be visibility of element located. Okay, so let me quickly explain you the condition, and what I'll do, I'll just create that as a utility so that you can use that anywhere in your project. So I'm just creating a class called wait utility, and inside this I'll create that. So the method I'll create will be public. I'm keeping the method as static. You don't know the meaning of static word right now. We'll discuss this later, but brief I'll give you. Wait till element visible. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So here we are saying wait till element visible. What all you need as an argument? You need the browser instance on which you will execute the code. So I'll pass the browser instance. Then you also need the element on which you want to perform this operation. So let's say I'm passing an instance obi, and then you need for how much time I want to wait. Timeout in seconds. So what are the three arguments I'm passing? I'm passing on which browser I want to wait, then on which locator or on which web element you want to wait. See here, when we identify any web element, if I search for any web element here, you can see uh, how we are identifying any element. We are identifying it by dot link text, by dot id, by dot name, right? So there is a class called by in which all the implementations are there. Link text is there, partial link text is there, then id, name, class name, all those are there. Okay, so that means I can pass the instance of this by class to identify an element. Okay, then we are also telling for how much time we need to wait. Okay, so when I'll call this method here, uh, like I want to search this mobile phones, when I'll pass this method there, so I'll say this method is written in wait utility, so I'll say wait utility. As this method is a static method, so you don't need to create its instance. Static methods are at class level. So just name of the class dot method name will work. We'll discuss static methods in detail. For now, just remember that static methods are those methods which can be accessed directly without creating instance of an object of the class. Okay, so here I'm saying wait utility dot wait till element visible on driver instance. For what you want to wait, I want to wait for this element which is located by this link text. So I'll say by dot link text, and how much time? Let's say I want to wait for 10 seconds. Okay, so I can remove this implicit wait here and I'll apply this explicit wait. I'll apply this explicit wait. Okay, what error it is giving now? Okay, uh, the reason is files were not saved. Okay, so I just saved all the files. Okay, now why we are passing these arguments? Which one? First one is driver, because I want to know, I want to tell where, on which browser I want to execute, with what locator I want to identify, and what time. So it will be more clear once I'll write the logic. So the logic I'll start writing now. For any explicit wait in Selenium, there is a class called WebDriver Wait. Okay, create instance of this class wait equal to new WebDriver Wait. Okay, now here the argument of this WebDriver asks two. Uh, sorry, the constructor of this class called WebDriver Wait takes two argument. One is the browser instance and second is the timeout. So on this browser, let's say I want to wait for 10 maximum of 10 seconds, so I can pass this as an argument, timeouts in seconds. Okay, so this WebDriver wait class uses this driver instance to know on which browser do I have to wait. Okay, then I'll apply the condition. So the condition will be wait dot, there is a method called until which takes one argument, and in that argument we pass the condition, and all the conditions are written in a class called expected conditions. Expected conditions dot, as soon as you press dot, you'll get a list of conditions which you can apply. Okay, see the conditions are alert is present, wait till an alert is present, then wait till element to be selected is this, wait element to be selected is this, wait element to be clickable. There can be n number of conditions you can apply. You can have a condition like wait till the color of text changes from blue to red. You can have a condition like wait till element become visible. Wait till element become invisible. Wait till element become clickable. Whatever condition you can think of, you will be able to find it here. 70% of the time we use this visibility of element located by. Okay, and here you will pass the locator. Okay, so it is wait dot until and you will pass the condition here. So expected conditions dot visibility of element located by, and this you will pass. Clear? Any questions on there here? Jason, I guess, is offline. Is this clear that why we are passing three arguments? Fine. So now you will see that in mouse over, I have removed that implicit wait. I'll only be working with this explicit wait. Let's see if it works or not. So remember, without that implicit wait, it was breaking. Now let's see without implicit wait, but with explicit wait, will it work or not? Okay, so you can see it has moved to mobile and accessories. Huh? Just a second. It should work. I don't know. Let me execute it again. Explicit wait is failing. I'm not sure why. Oh, okay. My bad. I have to apply it before I define the element. Okay, what was happening? It was searching the element here, and before it could reach this statement, it was throwing an exception. Okay, so I'll execute it now. So, Jishan, can you hear me now? Jishan, you there now?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, so
Back to the
I was just discussing about this explicit wait. So here, what I was saying is that in case of explicit wait, uh, we have this method written, that is wait till element visible. In that wait till element visible, we have passed three arguments. One was the instance of the browser, second was the element for which you need to wait, and third is timeout. And the code is simply this: small lines. One, WebDriver wait. So you're creating an instance of WebDriver wait. Then on that wait, you are applying a condition. You are applying a method called until wait until what? A condition gets true. And what is the condition? Condition is expected conditions dot, there is a long list, and in that list, if you'll see, there are methods like alert is present, attribute contains, frame to be available, number of elements, and so on. There is a long list of methods which are there. Okay, one of the method which is 70% of the users visibility of element located. So I applied that, and then in the mouse over a method, when I'm searching for the web element, this mobile phones, see here I've removed this implicit wait. I'm only applying explicit wait. So before I am searching for this mobile phone, I have applied this condition wait till element visible, where I'll be waiting for this element which is located by link text. I'll be waiting for this element to be there. Okay, and
You have
here.
mentioned the passing parameter of driver. So how it is identifying that Chrome is the driver?
Mhm. Okay, so this driver is, you're passing the driver instance here. This driver instance is defined here. So that's how it will know. Everywhere I'm using this driver instance, right?
But that's in this page. But if you go to the wait
See, see, see,
utility.java.
this method we are using wait till element visible.
Yes, yes.
In this
Got it.
method, we are passing this as an argument, and that's how it is reaching here.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah, got it. Got it.
So, just one thing, keep asking any question which comes in your mind, because I recall the time when I was at the learning stage of Java and Selenium. I had this similar doubt that how this driver instance went there. So if you get any doubt, do ask me. Don't hesitate that it's a small question or big question. Just ask me then and there only. Don't worry about any question. Okay, so here I'll execute the code, and now you will see that even without implicit wait, it will work, because here we have applied explicit wait. So you can see it has clicked on mobile phones. Any questions now? Okay. So like this, there can be n number of conditions which you can choose from. So just go through those conditions once. Uh, I gave you certain examples like wait till an alert is present, wait till invisibility of an element, till wait till a, a, a checkbox get grayed out or a checkbox becomes selectable, and so on. So once we'll start with automation of any website, at that time uh, I'll discuss with you that what all different conditions you can apply uh, as a wait command. Okay, but yeah, this is how you will write the condition. And interviews, what interviews can ask you questions are, one is this only: what are the different conditions available? So you just remember few of the one, like visibility of element located, alert present, and so on. And they might ask you this question as well, that in your wait utility, what are the different wait uh, you have applied? So your answer should be, we have certain explicit waits, like the list I just showed you Just remember few of them which are frequently used. So in frameworks, you can once you'll start with the frameworks and start automating your framework, your application, that time you will face certain challenges. You'll use certain weights. Just remember them in your interviews. This is one thing. Second thing, uh, I have one interview question for you, which was asked to me in one of the company known as Nagaro. It's a Indian-based company, but yeah, very good company, and especially the interviews are very good. So one of the question was asked to me, think and answer. Question is that let's consider I have a page, a web page, in which there are 10 web elements, and implicit wait we have defined as 7 seconds. Now, what will be the minimum and maximum time Selenium will wait to interact with all the elements? I repeat the question. There is a web page which has 10 web elements on that, and the implicit wait which you have defined is 7 seconds. Now, what will be the minimum and maximum time Selenium will wait for all the elements to interact with? Think and answer. So, what do you think, Jishan, Sandhya? What should be the minimum time? And what should be the
So we
minimum?
have defined,
Sorry, Jishan, you were saying something?
so we haven't defined the explicit
No, nothing
time
else. You defined
defined.
explicit wait at the start, and you have 7 elements. Sorry, 10 elements, each element taking 7 seconds. So, what should be the minimum and maximum time? So, Sandhya, you have already attended my class, so you know the answer. What about you, Jishan? Can you think of what should be the answer?
I have no idea.
Okay. See, consider two conditions. First condition, that you opened the page and all those 10 elements were already there on the page. Okay. Then recall what is the default time for implicit wait. It was 0 seconds. And if all the elements are there on the page, that means Selenium will not take even fractions of second to interact with them, and will interact with all of them without any delay. That means within 0 seconds or some fractions of second, Selenium will interact with all of them. So this is the minimum time. Agreed? Clear?
Yes.
Now consider second condition, that for the maximum time. Let's say it started interacting with elements when the first element, when Selenium code reached to the first element, to interact with, what could be the maximum possible time? It can wait maximum of 7 seconds. If you'll wait for, if element will appear with less than 7 seconds, then then it will not be the maximum time. But if it will take more than 7 seconds, then your code will break. So the maximum time Selenium code will wait will be 7 seconds for one element. Like this, 7 for one, 7 for next, 7 for next, and so on till all the 10 elements. So it will be 7 into 10, that is 70 seconds at max it will wait. Clear?
I will understand it. I will see the video again. So
No, 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 I'll explain you. See, what happened is, what I'm saying is, so is the other is clear that when all the elements are already there.
yes.
Now, just think that you are interacting with, let's say I move to mobile and accessories. First, you are interacting with mobile phones, or just consider that you interacting with first element of all the submenus. So when I went to deals, I wanted to interact with mobile phones. So how much maximum it will wait? Maximum it will wait for 7 seconds because we have defined implicit wait as 7. If this element appears less than that, fine. If takes more than 7, it will throw an exception. That means maximum time for one element is 7. 7 for this, then 7 for this, 7 for this, 7 for this, and so on. So how much will be the
For the
total
30
time?
seconds, it was 30 seconds then.
Sorry?
And you said there are 10 links
Yeah, there are 10 links for each. The maximum time it
for
is
each.
taking is 7. So the total time will be
Okay.
70.
70 seconds. Yeah. Okay.
Clear?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, fine. So that's all about weights for now. One weight, as Sandhya mentioned, Fluent Wait is left. Okay, so actually I've never used Fluent Wait, but I know what is Fluent Wait. The Fluent Wait is where you can control the polling time. Okay, in Explicit Wait, what we saw now, again we are just passing the page load timeout. We are not passing. We are passing the timeouts in seconds. We're not passing the polling time. In Fluent Wait, you can also pass the polling time, where let's say if your this threshold value is 10 seconds and you're passing polling time as 1 second, then Selenium will try for the element after every 1 second. So that's what Fluent Wait is. Okay, so exact logic maybe I'll explain you later. I mean, I'll just keep it in parking lot of your batch. We created one parking lot, right? If not, I'll create it today. Okay, I guess no, we are not created. So okay, I'll give you one example of Fluent Wait. Okay, otherwise that's all in wait. Now you can, if anywhere your code fails because of no such element exception or this, you need to apply wait. Okay, so Sunday, you're saying then we have four. So exactly what is the syntax? I've never used Fluent Wait. Maybe later on I'll explain what all arguments you need to pass there. But what I remember is we pass polling time as well. Fine. So we still have some time. So let's do one more scenario and then we'll move on. Then we'll end the session. So I'll be covering frame and alert handling. And keeping public static void main. Uh, Click finish. So okay. So in this, I'll copy. I'll copy the logic till navigating to the URL. Okay. So I'll give you one example. Here I'll say what I am searching for, alert, window alert. Okay, so the scenario we are going to cover is alert handling and frame handling. So let's talk about alert first, then frame, and logic will be, I mean, the code will be one code for both the scenarios. Okay, we'll be covering both the scenarios together. So here if you'll see, I opened this page W3 schools and I'm going to this open alert. And there is an option of try it. Once I click on this try it button, you'll see that a alert box is coming, which has something. Hello, I am an alert box. Some messages there. Now here you can either click on OK or you can simply press escape. Okay, so see this checkbox which you're getting. This is something which is because of your browser. So you cannot interact with it, so forget about it. Just look at the message. This is because of your browser. It is just asking me, do you want to prevent it from such alerts? Don't press it, otherwise you'll never get any alert box. Okay, so this is what alert box is. Now, what is difference between a alert box and a window? Alert box is something which when appears, they are like warnings or message, and once they appear on the screen, after that you cannot do anything. Okay, you cannot interact with your normal window. You either have to accept them or you have to reject them. Okay, dismiss them or escape them, whatever you want to call. So this is what an alert is. Okay, it won't allow you to do anything else on the screen. It like freezes the screen. Okay, you have to get rid of this alert to proceed. So this is alert. Let's talk about frames as well. Any questions in alert? Okay, so let's move on to frames then. So what is a frame? So for that, I'll just open this and in my HTML page, I'll hover around this try button, and when you'll see this try button, you will observe that in your main HTML page, there is another HTML page. You can see that something within HTML is coming. And just before it, you will observe that there is an iframe. Okay, so what is this iframe? And what we are doing here, when you want to embed another HTML page in an HTML page, you will do that using frames. One of the example which will explain it best is when you embed any Google map in your website. You might have seen that there are many websites which embed Google Maps. Okay, so Google Map is something which is there from Google, right? That is a part of your Google website and you are embedding it in some other website. How will you do that? You can do that using frames. Another example is you might have seen some YouTube videos getting embedded in another page. How can you do that? How can you uh, embed a YouTube video in another website? That is also possible because of frames. Okay, so frames are something which can be used to embed an HTML page in another HTML page. Why we need them? The example I gave you, one was Google Map, when another website's some logic you want to embed, or another reason could be you want one section of your page to be separate from rest of the web page. Okay, so this is about frames. Any questions in frames? Anyone? Now, in both the cases, in frame handling as well as in exceptional handling, sorry, this alert handling, in both the case, what happens is in frame handling as well as in alert handling, Selenium does not automatically switch to them. If you want to search any element inside this frame, Selenium won't be able to do that. Reason being, because this element you see inside this, okay, uh, that is there inside another HTML page. So explicitly you have to tell your Selenium code, hey, switch to this frame and then interact with this element, or switch to that alert and then interact with it. Okay, so Selenium does not automatically switch to a frame or an alert. You need to tell through code. So that's what we are going to learn here, that how we can switch to an alert or a frame. Okay, so any questions? Anyone? So I'll just copy this URL, paste it here, and after I navigate to this URL, I need to switch to this frame first. Okay, so here I'll say driver dot switch to dot where you want to switch frame. Now this frame has three arguments. First one is int argument, second one is string argument, and third one is web element argument. When you are passing the first one, that is integer argument, that means you're passing a number 1, 2, 3. On a web page, there can be multiple frames, 1, 2, and they will have an index associated with them. So if let's say a page has 4 frames, then they will have a number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, an index always starts from 1 in Selenium. So uh, switching to frame with first is like switching based on the number, not a good way because your number can change, your element can appear up and down. So we avoid this. Second we have is frame, switching to a frame with a string argument. And when we say string argument, then the frame we are talking about, if it has an ID, then you can use the second method, that is passing a string argument. Okay, so if a frame has an ID, you can directly pass that ID to interact with it. So this is my ID, I'll pass it. But if a frame does not have an ID, then you cannot use the second method. Then you are left with the third option, that is passing web element. And in that case, you need to identify your frame as a web element, and then only you will be able to switch. Okay, so the example of third way of switching we'll discuss later on. I mean, in upcoming classes we'll discuss. For now, we'll be passing ID because we have ID associated with it. Clear to you? Any questions? Anyone? Okay, so now I have switched to the frame. One small thing, when you sometimes like interviewer might ask you that if you have switched to a frame and you want to come back to a normal page, what you'll do. So to come back to a normal page, we have a method called switch to dot default content. What will this do? This will take you back to the normal page. So I'll just write here switch back to normal page from a frame. Okay, so I'll just comment it out because we don't want to switch back to the normal page now. Now after switching to this frame, I want to click on this stride button. So I will search for the stride button. It's a button, does not have anything. So there is a tag name. If you look at here in this particular frame, there is only one button. So I can use tag name here, right? So I'll say driver dot find element by dot tag name, and the tag name we have is, here you can see it's a button, and on this, in this frame there is only one button, so that will be unique. So I'll say button, and what you want to do with it is just click on it. So I'll just click on it. Once I click on it, an alert will appear. Okay, okay, so next is once I click on this, alert will appear. So here I'll write the code driver dot switch to dot alert. So here we will switch to the alert. Once we click on it, we switch to this alert. And let's say I want to get the message which is there in this alert. Okay, so here I'll simply say, let's say I just want to print it. So I'll say, uh, okay, what you can do here is, uh, there is a class called alert, alert equal to this. Okay, so what we are doing, we are saving that alert in one of the variable, and now you can get the message. So method is get text. So you get the message, and after getting the message, let's say I just want to Okay, it will be alert. Either you can accept that alert or you can dismiss that alert. Anything will work. So let's say I want to accept that alert, and to reject we have alert dot dismiss. So I'll just keep this as disabled because only one thing can be executed at a time. Okay, so very simple. We'll switch to an alert, then you can get the text from the alert, you can accept the alert, or you can dismiss the alert. That's all. Any questions here?
With accepting it, it is clicking the OK button.
Yeah, it's like clicking the OK button. Not actually clicking, but yeah, accepting it, pressing enter or whatever it do it internally, but yeah, for you it's like clicking on OK button.
Got it.
Okay, so I'll just execute it now. It will be very quick, so you might not be able to see it. So I'll just add one sleep command later on. See, it was very quick. It just clicked, came and went. So here if you'll see text from the alert is printed. Hello, I'm an alert box. Clear? So just to show you, I'll just add a small sleep. So there is something known as thread.sleep. What does this do? This will halt your project, halt your code for this many time, and the time you pass is in milliseconds. So it is saying 3000 milliseconds, that is 3 seconds. And also it need to be handle, I mean exceptional handling needs to be done here, which we'll learn later. So I'll just add this now. For now, just let it be. Later on we'll discuss about this in detail. So I'll execute it. Okay, so that's all. uh, any questions now? And switching back from alert is automatic. There you don't have to do anything like switch to default content or anything. It will automatically come back. Any questions now?
No, not for this one.
Mhm,
Saurabh, I have one question. When I was doing the assignment regarding the by classes,
mhm. Yeah, Jishan.
hello.
Yeah, Jishan.
So if you if you write down driver dot find element
Mhm.
and don't put by under the bracket,
Uh-huh.
there's still a command for that. And what is that for? What is the difference between within the bracket for by and outside the bracket?
I didn't get you. You saying
You
this?
just type it below this line, below this line.
Mhm. Here you're saying
Yeah, just type driver dot find element.
driver dot find element. Okay, these are new way of doing the same thing. Actually, I'm
Okay,
used
find
to of
element.
using the first way, but yeah, this the
Yeah.
other one are new way of doing the same thing what we are doing here.
Okay, I
Y-
thought it is something else.
No, no, no. They are the same thing. You can use them as well. Not an issue. It's just that if you'll use find by, let's say, class name, then you directly have to pass the class name value here.
Okay. And I will give you another script, one script regarding the ePay we have discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one I'll send it to you that is related to Flipkart. And I was passing the system.out.println command, and that is not printing the number of count to count the number of links.
Uh-huh.
So I will send these two code to
Just,
you,
just
and you can
yeah,
probably count
just
it.
send me. Just send me. I'll just stop the recording. Or you want this also in the recording?
No, no, stop the recording.
Okay.